How did Portra survive Kodak's $6.8 billion bankruptcy? Well, it has to do with folks just like these. Let's rewind to 1888 when George Eastman founded Kodak with his buddy Henry Strong in Rochester, New York. George was an inventor and Henry worked in his family's buggy whip factory. Solid duo. Guess what their first camera was called? The Kodak. You press the button, we do the rest. That was their slogan. And it was freaking solid because by the 1950s, Kodak had the lion's share of the US amateur film market, controlling 70% of it. But enter problem number one. The times, they were a-changing, and after the 1950s, Kodak started to lose its grip on the game. In the 1960s and 70s, foreign competitors like Fujifilm and Agfa started creeping in on Kodak's turf. Suddenly the big dog had to watch its back. But Kodak wasn't about to go down without a fight, nah. They kept innovating, coming up with new film stocks and cameras to stay ahead of the pack. So, in 1963, they dropped the Instamatic camera, which made loading film a breeze. And in 1972, they hit us with the iconic Pocket Instamac, the camera that made photography portable like never before. But despite these game changers, Kodak's market share kept slipping. By the 1980s, they were feeling the heat from all sides. So they went back to the lab to cook up something real special. And in 1998, they did something nobody was expecting. They introduced a line of films that would become an absolute legend, Portra. Portra was a film that portrait and wedding photographers had been dreaming of. It had fine grain, natural skin tones, and it could handle mixed lighting like a champ. Photographers were hooked on Portra, and many wedding photographers, like our boy Kirk Mastin, made it a staple in their camera bags. Kirk's love for Portra 400 was shared by countless photographers who relied on the film's versatility and quality. But as Portra was becoming a staple in the photography world, trouble was brewing on the horizon. Enter problem 2, the digital revolution. Even though Portra was taking off and winning the hearts of photographers everywhere, Kodak was facing a new and unexpected threat: digital photography. Now, here's the wild part. Kodak actually invented the first digital camera back in 1975. But they lost the plot. They couldn't see the revolution coming. Like, dog, how do you not see what is coming when you were the one who started it? So, as digital cameras got better and cheaper, more and more people started ditching film. Kodak tried to adapt, but they were playing catch up. They invested in digital printing kiosks and inkjet printers, but it was too little, too late. By 2012, Kodak was drowning in a sea of debt. We're talking $6.8 billion worth. They had no choice but to file for bankruptcy. But like a phoenix from the ashes, Kodak could not be stopped. Amidst all the chaos, something incredible happened. Even as Kodak was shutting down factories and laying off workers, they kept making Portra. But why? Because even in the digital age, professional photographers still love the look Portra brought to their images, and they were willing to pay top dollar for it. Portra survived because it was a product that people loved, and that love kept it profitable. While Kodak as a company was struggling, Portra the film was thriving. Fast forward to today, and Portra is still going strong, with its prices seemingly going up every single year. But if Kodak went through a bankruptcy once, isn't it possible that it could go through a bankruptcy twice? Would Portra be able to survive a second beatdown? Maybe, maybe not. But here's the thing. Mastin Labs has immortalized Portra 160, 400, and 800 in our Portra Original preset pack. We asked our community manager, Renee, to plan a shoot based on the vibe of these films and walk us through an edit to see how they perform.
We're gonna be shooting at the Palace of Fine Arts here in San Francisco. It's a little bit of a gloomy and overcast day, so it's gonna be a little chilly, but we'll have to lean into that today. I'm gonna be shooting on my Sony a7R III with my 35mm 1.4 lens. For digital and for film, I'll be shooting on my Contax RX with the Portra 400, obviously the classic Portra film stock. So we'll be going out. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be chilly, but we'll be okay. Now that we are back from our photo shoot, let's go ahead and run through just a quick edit of what this might look like. So this day, super gloomy. It was very windy. It was freezing. It was cold. It was overcast. So I think on the edit, I'm going to try and lean into that more rather than worrying about trying to make it too maybe like light and airy on a day that it really wasn't. And I think what's really lovely about the Portra pack is that we're going to be able to really highlight a lot of those earth tones. And I think earth tones kind of have this very like dark and moody vibe if you edit that way. So that's what I'm going to try and lean into today. So step 1 in our editing process is apply the preset. Go ahead and let's do Portra 160, I think, to start off with in this pack. So you can see it's a little desaturated right now, but we can go in and kind of play around with the different tools that we have and also white balance and tint. So again, in our step 2, we're going to adjust that. I actually think for the most part, the exposure is all right. So just looking at it before, we're already kind of at a bright image. So I probably wouldn't raise it too much more, but I am going to add in just like a little bit more warmth into that just to give a little bit more, especially into her skin tones. A little before after, just making sure we're kind of keeping on that. And I kind of love this very like desaturated earthy tone, very much going to fit the dark and moody vibe, but to kind of really hone that in, I'm going to put in the dark and moody assist. And what this is going to do is really just add in a lot more of that kind of stylish dark and moody vibe, if you will. And then let's bring it down just a little bit here. But I love the way that that looks. Like it just kind of adds that like extra stylish kind of facet to that. We could probably play around with some other things, like if we wanted to bring down some of the soft or add in some softness, there's all soft and there's also all hard if we wanted to go that way. But truly, I kind of love the way that this looks as is. There's like plenty of things that we can do, maybe add in a little bit of a spotlight just to pop her up a little bit more. But I kind of love this already. I'm going to be honest, like just before and after, and just like that very earthy, kind of like hipster vibes, I think was really nice with that. So that's Portra 160. Let's go over to our next one over here and let's play around with Portra 400. So this is like a nice little shot here. You can really tell that it's kind of an overcast and gloomy day on this image. So we're going to go ahead and apply the preset, step 1. And that honestly looks kind of great to me, just like on application. I think there's a couple things we're going to probably put in sky save just because the sky is a little bit miserable with all of the clouds and gloominess. So we can add a little bit. You can kind of see some of the clouds popping in. Not that there's a whole lot going on there. Exposure, I mean, I might bump it up a little bit, but honestly, I feel like that's kind of fine. Let's add in the dark and moody assist again, just because I'm wanting to really keep that consistency with all of the photos that we're editing today. Yeah, so we might do that. I might bring it down just a little bit. Yeah, right there. I kind of love the way that that looks here. I don't know that I would do a whole lot more to this, to be honest. Like I could probably make it a little bit more warm if I wanted to have more of a brown tone, I think, to it, add in a little bit more warmth. You could obviously go the opposite way if you wanted it to be more blue, which I kind of do like a little bit of blue undertones. I think that helps with that. Yeah. Again, we could probably pop in a spotlight if we wanted to pop her out a little bit. But even that I'm not crazy about. I might actually undo that because I think she already kind of stood out pretty well against the background. So yeah, I might stop there. I think that's actually a very lovely edit. So we're going to do a little before and a little after. You can really see from the before and the after how much more cooler toned I went on this edit that I feel like helps lean into that very cool, moody vibe that we're going for. So right over here, we have a more closer up. So it's the same sort of spot that we were shooting in before, but this one's just a little bit closer up. And so for this one, let's use Portra 800. Let's apply the preset. And I really, like, again, I kind of feel like just applying the preset, I'm pretty happy with a lot of the right off the bat edits. I might adjust a little bit here. I think her skin tone actually looks really nice. Very like peachy. There's a lot of like color into her cheeks. I think that looks really nice. Let's go ahead and apply our dark and moody assist. And then bring it down just a little bit because it's a little intense. And then maybe play around with the exposure, bringing that back up. But honestly, I love this edit here. Look, before, after. It still has a lot of that very cool tone, but I think her skin tone in the Portra 800, because I feel like Portra 800 just has a little bit more saturation and warmth to it, in addition to a lot of that contrast. I think if we wanted to make it less contrasty, we could definitely add tools like the strobe soften, and I think it would give it a little bit more of a natural tone, but I do like some of that punchy contrast, so I might not add in a whole lot of that, but that might just help on some of the highlights. So yeah, that would be a very lovely edit. And then our last one here, let's just do another 800 on this one. I just wanted to show with a little bit slightly different background. So here's one where we've got just almost entirely greens, very foresty. And so let's pop in Portra 800 again. Again, right off the bat, some really nice. Adjust the exposure. Maybe I might add in a little bit more pinks just because we've got so much green in the background. I want to balance that out just a little bit. I might adjust there, add in some more pinks, pop in our dark and moody assist and see what that looks like. Looks nice, and let's just bring it down just a hair. And then honestly, that's pretty good. I don't think I need spotlight on this one because the background was naturally so dark that she already just kind of pops out against it. But that might be a perfectly lovely edit. This one's a little bit warmer. Maybe cool it down just a hair just to kind of match the other ones, but have a little bit of a before and after. So yeah, that's just a little bit of a quick edit on some of these. I really loved this photo shoot. And I think the best thing about this photo shoot is that we can lean into those dark and gloomy vibes when we have a very dark and gloomy day, because it is San Francisco and sun is a bit of a hit or miss sometimes.
Awesome, Renee. Thank you so much. If you're in the market for film presets that make your photos beautiful with an easy to follow workflow, check out mastinlabs.com. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Until next time, have a great day and happy editing.